What we hope to give is the general direction of the kind of themes which are in the way to experiencing what is basically a kind of continuity of peacefulness and blissfulness in the body, whether in pleasure or in pain, and a sense of real freedom from worry about things like the right to exist here, a position from which it's possible to see things like insecurity or the horrible stuff, jealousy, dread, fear, anger, as phenomena which are part of you can almost bless them because they're part of the falling away of what you're not. So it can be curious as opposed to something that grabs you and makes a hell out of your life, out of your time.
So these quote-unquote negative, just quote-unquote negative experiences or feelings or phenomena or whatever, to see that as a falling away of what we're not.
We can move increasingly to a consolidation in a position from which it's more of a curiosity, and we already learned this formula that actually it's good this is coming forward because this is something that's not free. So let it burn. Let the anger rise. Because the curiosity from the allowance gives that space. So here is my ego going bananas, so that's curious. I thought I was free of ego. So, and we already begin to learn that in letting this burn, which can be a painful process, we're going to feel so much more space after that. Even more consolidation, even more freedom, even less anxiety about what? Death, fear, illness, sexuality.
The mind is
yes, and even if everything gets entangled and we go totally in the thing, we hope to give a template that even if you find yourself totally lost and ashore somewhere deep down, on the ocean somewhere deep down, you know that this is really okay. You're not going anywhere. It's not really the main thing. You will be back. It will pass. And the more it's allowed to do its thing, because the moment you say it will pass, and you're in a total whammy, yes, a total horror. It's like your worst nightmare is running through your whole body. The moment you kind of can come to this position, just that simplicity, it will pass. You're not in it anymore, are you? You're in a place which isn't passing. And it doesn't mean that the whole nervous system isn't screaming in pain or whatever, but if you're saying, okay, this scream is the scream home. So I totally allow it. I can totally go into it. If we're curious about the scream, we're not the scream, we are the one who totally is ready to listen to it, to hear it. And this is a huge difference, because if we don't give ourselves that space where we are not the scream, it's not heard. It's as if it's not heard, so there's another scream. I'm never heard. I'm never seen. There's no one here for me. I'm unsupported. In a way, what we've been pointing towards from the beginning, or playing with, or suggesting, is all to do with the sense of truth. And I call it the sense of truth because truth isn't a fixed thing that we can grasp and say, I know the truth, or I have the truth, or even I am the truth. It's a sense. It's a sense perception in a way. It's a feeling of truth. It's like a compass inside ourselves. That when we kind of have this sense of truth allowed, and it's really an unconditional sense of truth, meaning it's beyond mind of what's allowed and what should be, what needs to be and what ought to be. It's a sense of what sounds, feels, looks, smells truthful. It's a sense in the same way that, a bright light for you isn't necessarily a bright light for somebody else. Or too much air condition for one is maybe not enough air condition for the other. It doesn't have to be the same as everybody else. It's a sense of truth. It's a sense of truth that can lead us towards an uncompromising honesty with ourselves. We're not talking about going and telling, what's, everybody else stuff, which is anyway passing. The expression is secondary. That comes of itself when we, by virtue of the sense of truthfulness and honesty inside ourselves. Brutal honesty. Is that true? Is that true? Is that true? Is there a deeper truth behind this? So with this compass called the sense of truth, everything comes from that. We navigate our lives, we take choices. We know what we need to do, and we're allowed to do it when we follow this compass, rather than the conditionings of mind, all the ideas of what we should be, what we need to be in order to be accepted, the whole thing of acceptance and rejection, how we need to stay safe, that we need to be the protector, we need to be the one that takes care, we need to be the one that makes everything all right, we need to make sure that everything stays under control, otherwise we will be guilty. And if we're guilty, then we are condemned, and if we are condemned, then we will suffer, and others will suffer, and if others will suffer, we will suffer more. This goes on and on forever. These mental things, the social field of conditioning. So the sense of truth is much, much deeper than that. Those Chinese whispers that go from one to the other, and the message changes until you find yourself doing something completely ridiculous because everybody says you should. The sense of truth, in a way, this navigation through ourselves, or through our lives, or into our relationships, into the other person. It's a little bit like driving a car. When you drive a car, you need to keep your eyes totally on the direction that you're going. Yes? You need to. The real safety is if you actually look at the road ahead of you and follow it. Even if the road is unknown. You follow its signs, you follow its instructions. What happens often is that shit flies on the windscreen. This is our emotions. This is our sense of meanness. This is the social commandments of what we ought to be. The conformity, the drive towards conformity. So we get this kind of, rain is pouring down on the windscreen. And what we tend to do is focus on the rain, on the windscreen, but we're still driving the car. We have to look beyond it. We have to, if a big piece of bird shit comes on the windscreen, we have to look beyond that and stay focused on the road ahead. This is the same as with emotions. It's not that they're not there. It's that the consciousness is turned towards what's true. What's true is that there's a left-hand turn coming up on the road. Or there's a child passing. We need to slow down. This is true. The rain falling on the windscreen is just, in a way, obscuring our clarity. And it rains. It's not the end of the world. So this truth we move towards is something of the inner inquiry. Because if anything's standing on any foundation at all of who we are and what we are, it's on the foundation of the question, who am I? Who am I really? And we have all kinds of programs in the mind. I am this, I am that, I am not good at this, I am good at this, I can be this, I can't be that. But it's all not truthful. It's not really true. So many of these, actually all of the mental programs began, and the energetic programs in this lifetime, with our first initial experiences of what is real and truthful to be here on this planet as a human in this lifetime. So that first strata of self in this lifetime is what we would call home. It's the home we were born into. And this is prelingual, it's pre-lingual thought.
What is the home?
The home that we were born into.
Literally.
Which?
Our physical home.
The body?
Mummy and daddy,
Yeah.
and the atmosphere more than anything else, because it's prelingual. It's the atmosphere of home that we awoke into. Because when we, as a little baby, wake up, become conscious in this body, in this world, the first thing we're meeting, as if it's the reality, and we take it in a way as the end point and start point of what it is to be here, is that atmosphere around us of home. And of course, this is utterly connected with the theme of belonging of yesterday. So, in a very subtle way, we have two layers. We have the general atmosphere of our parents or siblings, of the kitchen, of the home, maybe the grandparents' home as well, that whole atmosphere which seems to be it, the universe, as a human being. And we have the one that suddenly awoke in it. The baby that began to feel this, the new arrival, the one that arrived.
The first home you're talking about, there's two layers of home, and one is the literal, physical, what the atmosphere is of all the participants in this life that I'm being born into. And you're saying the second home is the one that
There's two aspects.
Aspects, okay. And the second aspect is...
So this kind of psychological family atmosphere of home is emerging around a center point, which awakens in it, and says, oh, this is how it is to be human here. Home. And for the baby, this is the universe, as a human being. But at the same time, it's not, because it just arrived. The baby. There's something deeper than that. And within that one, that deeper aspect that becomes exposed to this atmosphere, which we know as adults is totally different from family to family, actually. There is a collective thing, but the atmosphere in one home is really quite different from the atmosphere in another. There are so many flavors of home, it's there are infinite flavors of that kind of home, atmospheres of humans in families. So there is this stability from the one that arrives beneath that, into this incarnation, into this life. And it's now a human being with all the layers already in pre-formation, the mental, the psychological. It's very much at one with the home feeling, but it's not utterly the end of it, because it arrived, or it became surrounded by this atmosphere. So in this slight discord between this and that it's not absolute, because there is this one that can experience it.
Can or can't?
That can experience
Can.
it. There's the experience and there's the one that's able to experience it. That's where we see the birth of the longing. The longing for what you could call the true home. This longing is longing for a true home in which there is a kind of unity which is far more true, even than the atmosphere of mother and everything that's around. So when there is this call of the beloved, or this call to the beloved, come home, or from any form of contraction, bring me home, bring me home. It's about reconnecting with that compass of truth which knows home already, because it already is there. It's just that the parts got disconnected. Because as Bart said, you can't really be longing for something or missing something if you make the word from one to the more shallow layer without knowing it's there. You can't miss what you never knew, what you never felt, what you never were one with. So who's missing? Something's missing in the form. It's not that the home is missing. The connection is missing. The awareness is missing. The trust is missing. The compass isn't missing, the compass of truth, but the reorientation of the system to follow the compass is missing. So why is it the home always there? How can that be? Couldn't it be that we kind of got born and we left the home and then we were stuck here forever until we die? And then we go back later.
I have a question. You're saying, how is it that the home is always there, actually? Well, how do you know? How do we know that is true, that it's the home that we're missing? That is actually that thing that is constantly there. But that there's some sort of discord, you say, between what we're bringing in with us when we're born and into the atmosphere into which we're born. There's some sort of discord between this atmosphere and the atmosphere we just come from, I'm imagining, right? But how do we know that's true? Not that I'm in dispute with it personally, but when we're talking about this, is this true, is this true? So it's a combined question which you may not answer right at this moment. Is when we ask, is it true? Who is it that's asking? And this piece of it, where are we getting our answer, so to speak, from? And we're talking about this inner compass, and I can, feel it, and I can point out to different parts of my life where I may have used it, but to get a more clear sense of what is it that's actually telling you, or that home is always there.
So, whether it's we're calling to the beloved, bring me home.
Huh?
Whether we're calling to the beloved, where are you, bring me home,
Yes.
and listening for the response, or whether we are saying to ourselves, also energetically, is this true? is this true? And we're kind of using duality in our favor, by asking a question and taking it a layer deeper and a layer deeper and a layer deeper. Who are we asking? To who are we calling?
Mm-hmm.
So, the same space out of which the question arises is the space that hears the question. Right?
Same space.
The same space
right.
inside
Questions
at the
arising.
core of ourselves, out of
Right.
which the question, is this true, arises, is the same space which hears the question
Here's the question, okay.
that is asked.
Right.
It's also the same space which can receive an answer in any form.
Okay.
So, this space is a known space. So now we have to look at what we know about mean by knowing. Do we know it mentally? When we ask, we don't yet know it mentally, we didn't yet explore it, we didn't yet jump into ourselves in a way. That space, that playing field where the whole thing happens, the source of it. So we don't know it with our minds yet, necessarily, although there is a recognition and there is a memory. This space, which is utterly here now, can be known to be home because it never was not here now. It would be here now if we lost 2 arms and our body was dying in a hospital. It was here now when we were a toddler, looking at our mother. It's here, exactly the same one, when we go to sleep, when we wake up. It's here, and it's not even affected whether or not we are angry and totally behaving crazy, or drunk, or totally lost in some trip, or whether we are in deepest, most profound meditation. It's still here. We can be doing miracles of spiritual healing, and it's exactly the same one. It doesn't have a personality. It doesn't get bigger or smaller. It doesn't age or change with time. It doesn't have a space. Meaning, you can lock yourself inside a box, it's still here. And you can go to the top of a mountain in China, it's exactly the same, it's still here. You can experience the most profound love, or the profound effects of love, and it's still here. It didn't even lose its head. You can lose your mind and go into total psychosis, and it's more here than ever, funnily enough.
It is the same home for all of us, or each one has a little different home?
So, if this here is home, if we can recognize this source of the one source of ourselves, which we didn't quite surrender back into yet completely, this source of ourselves isn't changed by time, and it isn't changed by space. Meaning, whatever form, whatever body, whatever mind, whatever thought, whatever feeling, it's the same. How could it be separate? How could it not be the same one for you as for me? Or for the goose, or the kitten, or for the tree. Now, it sounds abstract, but it's incredibly intimate, because truth is intimate, and it's beyond intimate. It's not abstract. it's utterly undividable because it's prior to time and space. It's prior to the human form. And because it's outside of time and space, it doesn't get taken away. It can never be lost. It sounds, because it's not moving and it's not changing, it doesn't have a form, that could it be separate then from forms? Is it separate from me as a human? Is it separate from my anger? Is it separate from my issues? Is it separate from my thoughts or from my whole life and what I'm doing with my life? My life, is it separate from my life? This then. But also here, every moment of life, every form, every thought depends on time and space plus this. Otherwise there could be no change, there could be no movement, there could be no aging, there could be no growth. So in no way can it be separate from your anger, from your love, from your tears, from physical matter. So in a way, it's not conditioned by time and space, but it is the source of them as well.
And the question I want to ask is, how do you know this? Or how do we, it's not like a challenge to you, Georgi, how you know this, but how is this true?
So this is the question you need to move with inside yourself. And what we're pointing at is the layers of belonging, the layers of home, all of this stuff which took its place in a way, in a psychological, spiritual way, it took the place of that. So don't accept that it's true. The way you know it's true is because you follow the trail of truth, inside. Who am I? What am I? Who am I really? And we're not talking trippy meditations now, we're talking really for real. Tachlis, who the fuck am I? What am I doing here? With your mind, with your feeling, feel it out, think it out, touch it. And I mean really touch it because matter isn't left outside. You follow the trail of truth back. And with each step you take, the sense of truth gets stronger. It's not here, the truth. The source of truth is not here. The source of the truth is utterly there in you, and you can see it everywhere you look. But the pure source is directly behind your consciousness. And the way is really through. How could you know anything is true without following the sense of truth? Even if it leads you through the most dirty alleyways. Like Bart said of the first depression point, this ixy-pixy places. As long as you're asking, is this true? Is this true? Is this the last truth? Is this true? This is where we stop, with the ixy-pixy sense of rejection. What's the truth of the feeling in it? What's the truth of the ability to feel? Who can feel it? What's there when everything collapses and destroys and it seems that my world and my life is over? What's still here? Sometimes it's a process of destruction. To see what's truthful. Sometimes we don't believe that this is there until everything falls around, whether it's going insane, or whether it's having so many broken hearts, or whether it's pure despair. Sometimes all of this has to fall before, this is the shocking way, before it becomes utterly clear that we're still here and it's really okay. Still here. Never gone anywhere, never went anywhere, never going anywhere, still here and not separate. And that sounds brutal, but in a way each lifetime is doing this to us. again and again, this process of the body growing and changing and going through all these feelings and emotions and connections and disconnections and unity and division, and then the body begins to decline and the mind begins to decline and we lose our minds. Sometimes before we lose before we die. Each thing gets humbled, gets put out, but it's not a degrading experience. Each thing gets cleared so that this consciousness here can see that it's really okay, that the mind is not absolute, that the feelings are not absolute, that this person that we thought we are, or this lifetime that we said we are, it's a beautiful artifact, it's beautiful, but it's not such a big deal either. It's not saying anything about that which you are. Your mistakes are glorious, your humiliations are glorious, your successes are glorious. It's all absolutely equally glorious as part of the whole. And the chief thing there in the belonging and in the home and in the mental thing is this insistent belief that there must be separation. Not part of. That I am separate. That at least my family is separate. At least my country is separate. Well, at least planet Earth is separate from the whole universe. And when I look at the night sky and I see infinite sky, which I looked at as a child, and the stars, I must be separate from that. I can't be made of that. I can't be part of that. I can't be totally of the same. This belief in separation is our curse. And it's our impetus towards growing form in creation, right, in a way.
Because that too was a given, though.
It's part of the process of creation, but we are not that alone. There can be no creation without the space behind it, the source of it. There can be no thought without the thinker. No belief without the believer. No feeling without the one who allows the feeling. No division without unity. And again, this is not abstract stuff, this is intimate stuff. When we're pissed off, this is the material which is truthful. Doesn't mean it's forever that we're going to be annoyed and frustrated. But this is it, what's ever appearing now. It's the intimacy with that. It's the intimacy with our own loneliness. The intimacy with our own loneliness. It's the one that can wonder at the feeling of despair. Wow, this is an incredible despair. This is the layers of home, real home, direct experience. Where else could home be but in our direct experience now?
Twist there for a second, because I've been having the home, the beloved, that what we've been talking about, the following the trail of truth, that thing which is always here, what we just laid out. And now it feels to me you've just added something that is helpful for direct relevancy into a day-to-day life, and also when I'm speaking with others. And I can't speak quite all of this, because it's not in me yet. But that home is also the direct. What was that?
It's absolutely in you. It's not that thing.
No, but I don't. I can't.
I should rephrase it for you.
No,
you are always here. You never change.
Right.
You are never coming and going. You are not going to die.
That part
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
It was mostly, what I was thinking of really was that, not that it's not with me and it's only with you and I don't have it yet. I didn't mean that. I meant the skill, language, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it as a negative for myself. I'm saying it as an evolution.
Yeah.
Because there are aspects of these things in which I bring forth with others.
Yeah.
And I see where it can touch, and then there's places where I can't because I can't deliver the rest of it. Okay, I'm not embodying it yet enough to articulate that out. That's okay. That's okay. But what you just said right now was that the home is also the direct experience with whatever it is, but especially when it's with the despair and the loneliness and all this, which we completely don't want to be part of, me, although that's shifting, and those who are sitting in front of me as clients. And the ability to bring forth that the direct experience with the loneliness, the intimacy with the loneliness, the intimacy with the despair, the intimacy which is absolutely almost revolting to at a certain point for people, for myself a while ago, that too is home. This I got. This is what I meant. This I can bring forth. I can share it with you. That's what I meant. That makes it a certain kind of tangibility that is, I can help make accessible to others,
Yeah.
because I can get it. And it's something that I can see as being incredibly helpful to others, that they can also touch that. Sometimes they, who am I and who is the thinker? It's not helpful yet to certain people who are there, who are so despair and so depressed that they can't see the light of any of that. It's something about this, the intimacy of all of that being also home is, I can get that.
And if you think about yesterday, it's very much this is the reunion in a way. The despair is calling home. The intimacy is saying, come home, come closer, come in, come closer, come closer. Any shred of feeling which is happening. Any person, but it's also, in a way, each person is a contraction. And they're saying, where am I? Take me home. I want to get home. I need to get there. The sense of needing to get, to return, to reunite.
But we don't. Most of the time, most of the people, certainly me, didn't see or don't see that the despair and the loneliness and these quote-unquote negative hard ones are keys to getting home. That is not something that is with fuss, and I can get a sense of that.
The truth, the sense of truth will lead you not to the other side of the despair, or around the despair, or to a solution to the despair. It will lead you directly into the very golden ingredients of despair, what it's made of. And that's where the alchemy is. Despair, as an example, or loneliness. Because it's truthful. It's not far away. Home isn't somewhere else. And it's not a place that used to be. Or that one day will be. But out of this thatness, it is possible to feel home everywhere. At the core.